This lesson is on section 1.3 titled Integers and Absolute Value. Again, like last lesson, this lesson is going to be another easy review of sixth grade concepts. So let's look back at the number line. When talking about integers, which are negative and positive whole numbers, we always think of that number line. So the farther we go to the right, the numbers get larger. And then the farther we go to the left, the numbers get smaller. So to the left of 0, they get smaller. To the right of 0, they get larger. Biggest thing to remember, -1 is larger than -2 because -1 is closer to 0 than -2 is. So the closer the number is to 0, when talking with negatives, the larger the number is. And then the opposite with positives, the farther away a number is from 0, the larger it is. So let's have an example here. So the example says order these integers from least to greatest. So we can think about this as the number line. Looks like we can deal with 0 here, so we know 0 is in the middle. So we know 4 is about 4 away from 0, so we know that comes next. And then we know 10 is past 4 on the number line. So now heading backwards from 0, we have to deal with the -3 and the -9. Well, -3 is 3 away from 0, and -9 is 9 away from 0. So we know that -9 is the smallest, then -3, then 0, then 4, and then 10. So that's the order from least to greatest. Again, think of it as the number line. Absolute value. We can think of absolute value as the distance away from 0. Those absolute values, we kind of talk about those field goal signs. I'm asking you to solve what's the distance away that number is from 0 when talking about absolute value. And absolute value is never negative. That's what a lot of kids think, is that whenever you put those field goal sign or those absolute value signs, the number turns negative. It does not. Distances are not negative. With absolute value, distances are always positive. It's the distance away from 0. So they are always positive, never negative. So remember that. So when thinking of absolute value, the example says to evaluate the expression. Evaluate is that fancy term for solve. So if we're going to solve that expression, and whenever it's an expression means it's a number sentence without a equal sign. So that's why we call it an expression. So we have the absolute value of -20 plus the absolute value of 10. Okay, well, -20 is 20 away from 0. And then 10 is 10 away from 0. So this is super easy. 20 plus 10 equals 30. Again, absolute value means the distance away from 0. Notice none of these are negative signs. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about some words that are associated with positive and negative values. So in a story problem, if ever you see the word above or longer or gain or deposit, we're talking about positive values. So if it's, 5 meters above sea level, we're talking about positive. If you're jogging for 10 minutes longer, it's positive. If you're gaining, if you gain 20 points in a basketball game, it's positive. If you deposited 20 bucks in your savings account, you're adding that money into that savings account, so it's positive. Some numbers that mean negative, if it's below sea level, that's a negative value. If you're losing something, that's subtracting from your original amount. If you're withdrawing, you're taking money away from your account. And if, let's say you're getting $5 off of, your favorite t-shirt at the store, again, that number is being subtracted, so it's a negative value. So when doing story problems today, think about what numbers are associated with positive and which numbers are associated with negative. Usually positive tends to be a good thing, negative tends to be a bad thing, so think about that. That brings me to the end of the video. Thanks for watching.